regular meeting of City Council. City of Belleville acknowledges we are meeting today on traditional territory of many nations. Municipality operates on the unceded and unsurrendered lands of our Indigenous peoples. We recognize and honor the historic relationship of the Indigenous peoples to this land and acknowledge our shared obligation to respect, honor, and sustain these lands and the natural resources contained within. We recognize all First Nation, Métis, and Inuit who call Belleville their home and support the need for cultivating a strong relationship with them. We look forward to fostering a path towards reconciliation and show respect for Indigenous peoples who first lived and currently live on this land where we now all reside together. For those watching on the city streaming service or our YouTube channel or on your TV broadcast, I would point out that our agenda and all reports are on the city website at www.belleville.ca under the agenda, minutes, and live meeting video on the left side of the screen. If you then click on March 27th on the counter, it'll bring you to the agenda for today's meeting. This is a hyperlink on the agenda in the event you'll wish to look at the reports, and you can follow along. I will call this meeting to order, and we are all present minus Councillor Carr. Please remain standing for a moment of reflection by City Clerk Matt McDonald.
May we be worthy custodians of all that has been entrusted to us. Help us to be concerned only for what will promote good government. May we bring to our council chamber minds that think and hearts that feel, always having respect for others so that we may serve the people of our city in a helpful manner and for the good of all.
Please be seated. Disclosure of pecuniary interest and general nature thereof. It's going to be a rough one today. Seeing none, I need a motion for the reading and confirmation of minutes of special council meeting held February 23rd, 2023, regular council meeting of March 13th, 2023, and the regular in-council camera meetings of March 13th, 23. Councillor Chatton, Councillor Thompson, any discussion? All in favor? Carried. Deputations. First, we have great news today, but bad news. And bad news that we're going to lose somebody to retirement. It's good news that you are retiring, Susan. But I've asked you today, Susan, to come in front of council. We all know that you have been really helpful, or you've been the champion of the chamber for our special events. Your creativity, your countless hours, your volunteerism, everything has been a driving force. And I'd like you to address council and have a chat with us.
Which would be really great. So get ready, Neil. There's so many people to thank, and the first would be Mayor Neil Ellis, because Neil and I go back a long way. In 2007, the Chamber of Commerce hired me twice that year, in May and then again in October, to put together the Waterfront Festival for July and the Santa Claus Parade for November. And when I look over at Mark Wilson, I think of the Waterfront Festival that year because the city still had the big, huge committee that with 30 or 40 people sitting around a table. And it was pretty tough to accomplish things sometimes, but thank you very much, Mark. I remember that's a fond memory for sure. Then in 2008, there was a position created by the city under contract with the chamber, and I was lucky enough to get the job, and it was my dream job. And one of the reference letters in that package was from Neil, because he had known me from my 13.5 years at the BIA doing events downtown. So thank you very much for being part of me getting my dream job. There's too many people to thank. There's mayors to thank, there's council members to thank, a lot of the people behind me in the gallery, senior staff and other staff at the city. Couldn't do these events without them. So many of them were mentors to me. They helped me get started. I had nothing. I had no templates to start with. I had no books. I had no policy and procedure manuals. It was all just from the heart and the brain, and luckily it's all worked out. And 16 years later, here we are. At the chamber, there's been a lot of staff changes, which happens everywhere, but it's always been the best teams to work with. And of course, the present team has been the best for me, and it's going to be really, really tough to leave. I'm not looking forward to this Friday, because this Friday will actually be the official day when I walk out of the log cabin, which is like working from home every day. It's warm and it's cozy and it's welcoming, and being the visitor services operation that we are, we just see the best of the best. We see people come in that just want to have fun. We see people come in that live here that have never been in the log cabin. They drive by it every day, but they never knew what was inside. There are visitors, there are retirees that want to move to the area, and it's so much fun to stand there and tell them why they should pick Belleville. So thank you to all that staff, especially Jill, and it's really cool today to see Bill Saunders. Most of you know who Bill is. Bill was the CEO for the Chamber for many years. Bill preceded Jill. There was Bill and Jill. So thank you so much, Bill, for making the trip. As I say, there's so many people to thank. I do have to pick out a few. One of them being Karen Post. We were so close to Karen with the contracts that we have with the city. And speaking of mentors, there was no better. So thank you so much, Karen. Thank you. And one more person that I really want to thank, and that's Kevin, my husband. Because as you all know, with the time that you dedicate to jobs like you're doing right now, there's a lot of time. There's a lot of challenges, there's a lot of ups, there's a lot of downs, and you need someone behind you to support you through that. So thank you very much, Kevin. Anyway, it really has been an honor to serve the community. It's going to be very hard to walk away from that, but this head will get screwed on eventually, and I'll know where I want to go from here, and just trying to remain positive. And again, thank you very much, those of you who've been around the table for more than just this term, especially. I'm looking around at Chris and Sean and Garney. You're always at the events, Garney. It's wonderful. So please keep supporting the events. Please keep supporting the contracts. This staff is so knowledgeable, and their heart is always in the right place, in the cabin. So that's my best wish moving forward, is that you can keep that support all in the right place to those right people. Thank you.
So I just want to thank you again. You made Belleville a better place to live, honestly, for what you've done, and you've made. We call Bernie Mr. Belleville. We'll call him Mrs. Belleville. Your creativity, your passion, your commitment, your hard work, your memories that have been enjoyed by not only my family, thousands and thousands of people. You know, we started small, as we said back in the 80s. You're aging us all, maybe the 90s, maybe 2000. But the Chamber's grown so much under your leadership with special events, gone from 2 to we can't count on 2 hands now. Not only helps bringing our community together, but tourism in general. So we do have a gift for you from the city. I don't know, there's lots of gifts to give. We have a gift certificate for you, and on behalf of council, we want to present you with a key to the city.
Oh my gosh.
Now I get to hug you, right? In my history, I haven't given a lot of these keys out, but there is nobody that I know of that is more deserving of you to have a key to the city for all the hard work you've put in. And I know all the volunteerism that you're going to put forward in your retirement, because she does have a lot more time, right? So looking forward to your future. Hopefully it involves the city, and hopefully it involves some events still. And definitely you're top notch. So.
I'll try and spend my time wisely.
Wisely, okay. We'll present this with you. So what we should do is, why don't we get council to come in behind, and we'll get a big picture of council with the key. Come on. Yeah. because it's a key from the city, from council, right? Tuck everybody in.
Yeah, maybe behind here. Yeah, we can do that.
We're not gonna run out of time tonight now.
Councilor Chatton, could you come on this side? Sorry, I'm just gonna try and get one on this side. Here. Perfect. That's.
I love getting my picture taken.
Just grab one here, super quick. Can I grab one here for the city? Thank you.
See, this is gonna boost our social media profile, right? So. And here's something, some tickets
Oh
for
my
you too.
goodness, thank you. Thank you so much, everybody. As I said, the job has been very, very challenging, but the reward of seeing all those smiles on faces, being able to go to the events that are always affordable because they're free, that's the reward. And I hope that you will all keep supporting the Chamber. And I'd be remiss if I didn't mention Tiffany Young, who you will be introduced to by Jill as well, who's taking my position. So please come out to the events and support her as well. She's going to do a great job for the city. Thank you.
Also, you'll be able to send me out, Bill, but congratulations. I knew when you were the Chamber CAO that you were going to get involved in politics. I'm just glad you didn't pick Belleville, so no. Because you'd have my job. That's what I'd be afraid of, Bill, but thank you. So our next deputation, we have Jill Raycroft, Executive Director of the Chamber of Commerce.
Thank you. So I thought I was going to write, first I said I was going to have a PowerPoint, and then I said I was going to write something. And today has been a busy day, in spite of Susan, who has been ill. She's never taken a sick day in the 15 years she's been here, and somehow this last week or so, it's finally got her. It's not COVID, so she's allowed to be here. But anyway, so needless to say, we're working this past couple weeks, and so all of the things I wanted to say are probably in my head, hopefully coming from my heart, and will mean a great deal. I mean, certainly thank you to Susan. When I joined the Chamber 6 years ago, it's hard to believe that it's been that long. Bill doesn't look any older, and I clearly do. Anyway, we've gone through a lot. Not only have there been significant staff changes, but we also went through a pandemic together. And we looked at ways to invent new events. We looked at ways to throw stuff at the wall and just try to be creative through a pandemic, because more than anything, it was really important to us to honor the contract that you've entrusted us with. So for the city events and visitor services, those were key things. So even pre-pandemic, we were talking about the idea that a log cabin is a great place for people to visit, but not as many people were coming to visit anymore. So what could we do to ensure that visitors to the community were getting that log cabin experience in a virtual world? And the first conversation was, can we create SEO to the Belleville Chamber of Commerce website? Because believe it or not, that's where everything lived. So the community events calendar lived under bellevillechamber.ca. Information about visiting the city was under bellevillechamber.ca. So the easy answer was, we're never going to pay enough money to get SEO to bellevillechamber.ca. So we need a new website. So visitbelleville.ca was born. We claimed the domain name one day when Matt and Alicia were in the office. We said, okay, you know what, we'll create this and we'll just take the guide and we'll put it online, and that'll at least be a place to start. And then another iteration, Alicia was on maternity leave, and Anne Monroe came in and said, you know, I kind of like the idea of Discover Belleville better. You know what? Hey, that's good. So we claimed that too. And then the pandemic hit. And so everybody was discovering their own backyard. We lost a staff member during that period, and we gained Anna Freyberg. And she ended up taking our Discover Belleville space to a local audience that the reach has been significant. Yona, who is back here, she joined us in June of last year after Anna went to Doug. Just gonna lay that out there for a minute. But I will say, one of the things we understood that part of the role of visitor services was it really feels a bit like a reception space. It feels like, you know, it's an entry-level position. So we wanted Anna to have a project she could grow and call her own, and she made Discover Belleville that, and I'm really excited that she's been able to move on to amazing things. But Yona came in, and then all of a sudden it was post-pandemic, and we were doing events again, and everybody wanted to get out and do something, and all of a sudden we were having thousands of people come to these events, and we were trying to figure, we rebranded a little bit, so rather than kind of a stay a while and an add-on to some of the other events that we were kind of tracking onto before, Family Fun Fest was born, and we had our Family Fun Fest Winter Edition last, you know, a very small scale, but then Spring Edition was huge in the park, and then we combined with Rotary to do Family Fun Fest, the Fall Edition with Touch a Truck. And what we learned to do through the pandemic was really find community partners and try to uplift them. And with the Lions Club, they've become a staunch partner of ours as well. The Rotary Club has become a staunch partner. And anywhere we saw a way for us to extend what we were doing for the community to help them do what they wanted to do for the community. We revived the old passport with regard to waterfront. If people will remember the old Folklorama days, that was curbside culture in 2020, and that's partly why we did that. We're looking forward to, and then last year we were entrusted with Diwali, and being given the opportunity to work so closely. As Susan talks about this large committee, I think we're going right back there, just saying history repeats itself all the time. I think we're moving back into the stage of bringing together large groups of people who can share their vision about what an event looks like, what makes that authentic, what makes it culturally representative. And the Waterfront Multicultural Festival is really a space for that to grow and hopefully give smaller groups wings to develop their own events. As with the old version of the Ethnic Festival, many of those food pavilions moved on to create restaurants of their own, which made curbside culture possible. So from a chamber perspective, I'd love to say that we are always supporting the business side of that, but under Discover Belleville, we have this new place where fun things live, and I think you'll see Discover Belleville is the arm that we want to put a lot of this stuff under, so it's not necessarily Voice of Business Chamber and Corporate City, this is where I pay my parking tickets, but Discover Belleville is going to be the amazing place where this community finds wonderful things to do. And our most recent event at Loyalist College, we were a little worried we wouldn't have a lot of people there. The reach was over 150,000 with our social media piece. That surprised us, overwhelmed us, and we didn't really believe it until we saw the lineups at that event. So thanks to Loyalist College for supporting that and all of the things we did. We are now challenged to ensure that anybody coming to an event gets the experience they expect. So that's what's moving us forward. Tiffany, I want to say the board has been super supportive of making sure that we weren't going to let anything drop in the transition between Susan. So we've had Tiffany with us since July 1st last year. So baptism by fire, come out to Canada Day, do this event with us, and then do Waterfront, and then let's do another event, and then let's do Diwali, and then let's do the Santa Claus Parade. Is that enough? Do you want to stay?
I'm still here.
So Tiffany, yes, I can't thank her enough for kind of being a part of this team, and Susan for staying as long as she has to help us with this. She said, I don't want someone underfoot. So we just, but Tiffany and Susan have become a team, and it is going to be really hard without her. You're going to see a motion to accept our opportunity to do something more for the city, and I hope you'll consider that we will take on that role with the same commitment and conviction that we will do our best not to fail you, and consider that it's hopefully a very good investment. Anyway, thank you. And thank you for considering Susan today. It means a lot to all of us.
Any questions for the deputation? Councillor Chatton.
Thank you. Through you, Your Worship. I just wondered if Tiffany might want to take the mic and introduce herself to us.
Thank you. My name is Tiffany Young. I've been doing events for over 20 years. I have extensive education at Loyalist College, and I've had the pleasure to work with Susan Walsh for the last 9 months, and I am so grateful for her as a mentor, and I can only hope to do her justice. That's all I have to say.
I'm sure you will. Great. Thank you very much. So I need a motion to receive. Next, we have Ruth Ingersoll, Executive Director, and Amanda Solms, Community Research Coordinator of Community Development Council of Quinte.
First of all, I'm Ruth Ingersoll, the Executive Director of Community Development Council.
And I'm Amanda Soames, the Community Research Coordinator.
First of all, I'd like to say thank you to the City of Belleville. You have supported our agency for many, many years, either by paying for the rental for us to do our Good Food Box packing, which now is at the Fish and Game Club, and providing funding through the Social Infrastructure Fund. And we don't take any of our funding lightly. We do appreciate your support and trust in us, and so we wanted to say thank you, first of all. The other reason that we're coming here is we did have a strategic planning session. It was actually a bit before COVID, and then COVID hit, so this is why we're just getting out to this now. So we've developed a new vision and a new mission for our agency, and we wanted to make sure that, to inform you of that, when you look at that vision, we've consistently or purposely chosen those words: consistent, safe, affordable, and nutritious. And we were very specific about those because those really deal with what food insecurity is: consistent, safe, affordable, and nutritious. And they align with the definition of food security. We know that our levels of food security, and I know people have heard me say this numerous times, are higher than other levels in the province. But food security is a symptom of other social issues in our community. We think of high cost, unaffordable housing and rent, low incomes in many homes and families, the high cost of food. And that's why it's a symptom. And when you look at it, you can sometimes also measure, it can be used as a measuring tool to understand the levels and the depths of the other social issues that we do have in the community. And our mission is to promote food security among all members within Hastings and Prince Edward County. And we do that through community development, service provision, and social planning. This is our new organizational structure. We will be intentionally focusing more on community development, but always food security. We feel that our programs do fill a gap in the community that aren't filled by others. But our structure will be twofold, and more specifically and intentionally with social planning and program delivery. And that strategy is going to be community engagement, research, education, and advocacy under that social planning umbrella, and you will hear more about that. Our program delivery is Good Food Box, Good Baby Box, and Gardens, community gardens. And those we have specifically decided will be our flagship programs, and we don't at this point intend to add any more food security programs. We will be reporting, of course, on what our funding that you gave us last year, and these are just some stats that you're going to see in that funding report, the number of Good Food Boxes, baby boxes, and our community garden program, which we're really proud of. We have 106 raised beds in the city of Belleville, all throughout the city, partnering with a lot of churches and other agencies who have water and land, and then we just build the beds and people come and grow their own food. So it's a great initiative and it's a great partnership. We don't do anything without collaborating or partnering with someone. We have 71 partnerships and 142 volunteers currently. So we've been around a while, since 1989. A small group of citizens got together and decided that we needed a social planning network. And so a lot of our work through the years, some of you will recognize that Hunger in Belleville report. And you know, when you read a report like that, we looked back, we were looking back at it today, and some of the same issues were there back then as they are now. And we feel like a large part of that and a large part of a lot of our social issues are because we're not focusing and being more intentional on reducing those levels of whatever the issue is that we're dealing with. And so I slipped ahead a little bit too fast. We've always strived to strengthen community capacity. We've always worked collaboratively with our community partners to address emerging social issues in our community. But we just wanted you to know that our plan now, especially with all of the social problems and issues that we're having in the community now, is to be more intentional and more focused on this work. Amanda's going to take over now and talk about that.
Thanks, Ruth. So I was hired in 2019 to better understand the picture of food programs operating in the city. A number of different food programs have popped up over the years through churches or through our services here. And some of them were overlapping, and there were also some days with gaps. So there was becoming an understanding that we might not be meeting all the needs of the city. So the idea was to build a picture of what is happening and then to help prepare a coordinated response that would meet citywide needs. So as part of that work, we brought all of the current food providers together for a roundtable workshop day to help understand what their needs were and if they could be better supported, to get their perception of citywide needs and what the gaps were, and then to work together to build that coordinated response. And two major things came out of that day. One, we realized this was the first time ever that all meal programs had been brought together under one roof. And they found it really effective to have those conversations, to realize that there were other people in their field doing similar work, having similar struggles, being able to share experiences, share resources, and share support for one another. So at the end of that day, we decided to build the CHAMPS Network, which is the Charitable Meal Programs Network, to continue to meet regularly and be able to support one another. Another thing that we learned was that all programs had wished that they could do more public education and advocacy, that they just had the time and resources to basically keep their programs running, but they knew that there was more outreach needed, more education about the real issues around food insecurity, more education about what programs were actually out there, how to use them, and how the community could support them if they were able to. So CDC picked up that piece to act as a coordinator for the CHAMPS Network. We've continued to meet on a regular basis for the last 3 years and work towards a mission of filling those citywide gaps. And we also executed the We All Deserve to Eat campaign. So that brought more information out around the real root issues of food insecurity. We're advocating together as a group to sort of solve these issues, and then to inform the community of what resources are out there and how to support them. So that's just one example of social planning work, really digging in on an issue, bringing people around together to collaborate around that issue, understanding research at a real community level. And this is what we would like to continue to do a little bit more of. So we are officially a social planning organization as a part of the Social Planning Network of Ontario. And generally what a social planning organization is we're an organization that helps the community to realize their potential for community well-being and flourishing. So that's pretty broad. They look different in different communities depending on what the issues are and what the focus is. But generally what they do is they better understand the needs of the community and do that actual on-the-ground community research. They do organizing around community needs, bringing different services together and community groups, and they really play a large role in that advocacy and public education piece. So CDC Quinte, in partnership with Bridge Street United, was successful in a Trillium grant in 2019 to do a feasibility study of what a social research and planning organization could look like here in the Quinte region. So we did surveys with a number of our service organizations as well as focus groups, and the main things that came out of that we found for needs here were for that social research piece. A number of our organizations are collecting statistics on what they specifically do, but there's no one really bringing them together and providing that community snapshot of what is going on here as a whole. There's no real organization supporting community organizing at a grassroots level. It's very minimal, and there's not a professional group out there that's facilitating that grassroots work. Like the CHAMPS network and the meal programs, most all social service agencies are feeling a real lack of support for advocacy and the ability to do the public education that's required to support their programs. And then also just acting as a coordination piece, like the CHAMPS network coming together and being able to share in what all their organizations are doing. We're finding all social services desire that kind of support. So over the next couple of weeks, we're preparing an application for the Social Infrastructure Fund to help us to continue that work. The last 3 years has been supported with some funding from public health, but that funding is running out, and we're just finding that the CHAMPS network is really finding its mandate and finding its voice and really starting to come together and make an impact. And we hope to continue to see that work, to strengthen and continue to do that work. As well, we're recognizing that most of food insecurity is attempted to be solved here through a food charity model. And what the research is showing is that food charity is more of a Band-Aid solution. We're feeding people day to day, but there's no real ability to overcome food insecurity in the long term. So we'd like to bring this forward to the community and see if there's a way that we can rework these services to serve a more long-term solution. And simultaneously, we'd also be working on a project to do asset mapping. So that's just to get a better inventory of what assets we have here, what community level research do we have, what physical resource do we have, which groups both at a service level and a community level are working on different issues, and what gaps do we have here. And we're hoping that with this map, it can better inform our future work so that we have that more intentional direction.
Which then we hope that information could utilize, we could utilize that information from the asset mapping to inform any future projects that we may do. But we mostly wanted to come here and inform you that we plan on doing this work. We're here to work with you and for you, and we'd be happy to have further conversations as to what you would want or need, and work together to make the city of Belleville the best that it can be. So,
Thank you. Any questions for the deputation? Councillor Thompson.
Just a couple of quick ones. First, I want to make a statement that it's great to see you're trying to bring them all together, because I think that has been an absolute part of it, because so many agencies are trying to do the same thing, and if we can bring them all together and streamline it better. But my question is, I'm intrigued with your food box program. How many food boxes do you do in a single month or a year or whatever? And give us an idea of where you go with that food box program and the value of it, what you're getting and what you're charging.
okay, that's a lot of questions, but I can do that, no problem. Our Good Food Box has grown exponentially, especially in the past few years. We were doing about 12,000 a year pre-COVID. We're doing closer to 36,000 now, so we've tripled. We're just doing a $10 bag and a $5 bag. So the $10 bag is vegetables and the $5 bag is fruit. We always do cost in local stores as well as rural stores. And we have discovered that even in the city of Belleville, the $10 bag would be worth about 20 retail, and the $5 fruit bag is about 10. But when you get into those rural areas, we have partnered, like I said, we don't do anything without partnerships. We have partnered with 20 partners, other agencies in Hastings and Prince Edward County. So we go to Bancroft, Limerick, Madoc, Marmora, Tweed, Sterling, and drop off our boxes there. They sell them to their customers or their clients. And it acts as a resource for that client too in that community, and gives them a place that they can go. And if they're having other issues, they have now a contact. So they're not only coming in and getting some food, but that food is worth $25 or $30 in a lot of stores rurally. And then when we've gone to some of the rural stores, a lot of those fruits and vegetables aren't even available for people. So our goal and our passion is really not only to get the food out to the city of Belleville, but to get it all throughout Hastings County, and you're helping us to do that. So,
Yeah. Councillor Millett.
Yes, thank you, Your Worship. Through you, thank you very much, Ruth and Amanda. I've known the value of the CDC for a number of years, and as you may recall, that whenever there was a social issue or a community social issue that had national or provincial implications or vice versa, I would have a reporter phone to get
Yes,
the
you did.
CDC. Yeah, we did, and we would
Yes,
put you on the
thank you
spot.
for that.
Well, but the reason was because the CDC always had a good measure of the pulse and the challenges and the needs of the community. And this is another step in a phenomenal progression, I guess, of having that detailed and informed finger on that pulse. And as chair of the county, the Hastings County Community and Human Services Joint Committee, I can tell you that this kind of an initiative to gather this kind of information and coalesce this kind of information is hugely valuable as we're feeling our way along, as you clearly outlined, the challenges that are facing our community today. And alone in Belleville, in 2021 alone, who access food services, 15,500 men, women, and children in the city of Belleville alone. So I just want to commend you on that, and thank you very much. And research is knowledge, and knowledge is action when we, at our decision-making level, need it the most. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Seeing none, I need a motion to receive. Councillor Kelly. Another hand. Oh, you got questions, okay.
Thank you, Mayor. I'll be quick. Thanks very much for the presentation today. I went through your report you gave us, and on page 5, and as Councillor Millette touched on, about 15,000, that's families, young folks use the programs that you have in Belleville. Is there a demographic, just kind of get a state of where the seniors are at in our community and the need that they're showing with the programs?
Yeah, definitely seniors, we've seen a big increase as they are some of our most vulnerable population, and that demographic is obviously growing, not only in Belleville but everywhere. So we definitely have seen an increase in that. We find that most of the people that are using the programs would be working poor. They're people that are working part-time jobs. So between seniors and families who are struggling would be the biggest users of our program. We don't ask a lot of information, so we don't ask them to prove how poor they are to use our program. Anybody's open to use our program, which we feel treats people with dignity, but then also you don't know what a person is going through at the time. They might have made a lot of money last month, but have none this month. And so we feel that erases all of that and all that stigma, and that anybody can come and use our program. So, and often that acts as a resource too. And we do have a delivery service with Community Living, a great connection with them, and they'll pack some of the boxes there at their facility, and then they go out and deliver the boxes with our clients. So it's a great initiative also in the city that some of the clients from Community Living are getting out in the community, and people are becoming familiar with them. So thank you.
Councillor Alsop?
Yes, thank you, Mayor Ellis, and I want to thank both of you for coming today and for your presentation, all the great work you're doing in the community. And I just wanted to highlight the Good Baby Box program as well. A lot of talk tonight about the Good Food Box, but certainly what you're doing for young families with babies, and we see the stat here, 97% of parents said they would be unable to keep their baby on infant formula without us. Infant formula is terrifically expensive. I have 3 children under 3, and so I know exactly how that goes. And certainly, that's tremendous work in helping people, give proper nutrition to their babies, and very important. And as members of council, what is it that we can do to better help you guys achieve your goals in the community?
Well, for our programs or this new work, continue to support us as you all are. And I know a lot of you are a voice for our programs out in the community already and talking to people. I know many of you, I've had conversations with you, and you've told people about our programs who need them. So definitely continue to do that. Support financially, obviously, we continue to need that. If anybody wants to volunteer, we're always looking for volunteers. So if you want to volunteer on a Tuesday and help pack some bags, it's a great experience even to come and see the action and loading and unloading trucks. and then supporting our research and our social planning work. So, yeah, thank you.
Thank you. I need a motion to receive then. Councillor Enright Miller, Councillor Chatton, all in favor? Carried. Thank you very much for the deputation, and thank you for all the work you do in our community. I need a resolution that council rise and go into committee of the whole to hear and consider reports, passing recommendations and resolutions with Councillor Chatton in the chair. Moved by Councillor Alsop, seconded by Councillor Enright Miller. All in favor? Carried.
Okay, so we'll start out with reports. The agenda shall include under reports items that warrant individual attention from the council, beginning with 8A1, request for proposals RFP-ENG 2023-02, consulting services for detailed design for the replacements of Airport Parkway Culvert and McWilliams Bridge. The resolution reads that the request for proposals RFP-ENG 2023-02 submission from HP Engineering Incorporated be accepted for consulting services for the detailed design for the replacements of Airport Parkway Culvert and McWilliams Bridge in the city of Belleville, with a bid of $182,250 plus $23,692.50 HST, for a total dollar amount of $205,942.50. This being the highest ranked qualified bid received, and that the mayor and the city clerk be authorized to sign the acceptance agreement on behalf of the corporation of the city of Belleville, and that the city clerk be authorized to affix the corporate seal. May I have a mover and a seconder, please? Thank you, Tyler Alsop, and thank you, Sean Kelly. Seconded, and any discussion? All in favor? That is passed. Thank you. 8A2, Bay of Quinte Regional Marketing Board, BQRMB, Municipal Accommodation Tax, MAT, Financial Accountability and Services Agreement. The resolution reads that the Director of Economic Development's report number DEC-DEV 2023-06, Bay of Quinte Regional Marketing Board, Municipal Accommodation Tax, Financial Accountability and Services Agreement be approved, and that a bylaw be prepared for council's consideration. Can I have a mover and a seconder? Thank you, Catherine. And sorry, seconded by Garnet Thompson. Discussion? Yes, go ahead.
Yes, thank you, Chair. I just wanted to say, as our representative on the Bay of Quinte Regional Marketing Board, this is a fantastic organization that does great work in our community with these MAT tax funds that are collected. Certainly in favor of this agreement and continuing the partnership and continuing to grow tourism and resident attraction in the Bay of Quinte.
Thank you, Councillor Alsop. Any other further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? That is carried. Thank you. 8A3, 2023 Chamber of Commerce Diwali Caribbean Fest and Pop-Ups on the Bay contract. The resolution reads that in accordance with the section 30.3 sole and single sourcing, approval and reporting of the city's purchasing bylaw number 2021-99, the agreement with the Belleville Chamber of Commerce be accepted for the provision of special event and project management services in the amount of $107,000 plus HST of $13,910 for a total of $120,910, with up to an additional $50,000 available for capital improvements, and that the mayor and the city clerk be authorized to sign the acceptance agreement on behalf of the corporation of the city of Belleville, and that the city clerk be authorized to affix the corporate seal, and that council provide 2023 operating budget pre-budget approval of $49,000 to be provided by municipal accommodation tax funds. May I have a mover and a seconder? Thank you, Councillor Brown, and Councillor Millette seconded. Any discussion? Councillor Millette?
Yeah, I'm quite excited to see where these, both these initiatives have come, that we're now in a position that we're funding these to help move them along, whereas not so many few years ago, they were just chestnuts of an idea that that evolved, I think, around this table for the pop-ups, initiative of current MP Ryan Williams on the pop-ups, and the brainchild of the Equity, Diversity, and Inclusion Committee under the tutelage of Chair Councillor Sean Kelly and the Diwali Festival. Now we have these two fabulous community events and features, and this is the kind of thing that you really need to see help grow and help make the community. You know, everybody is always looking at you know, the hard services and what we need and some of the challenges of the, you know, how to address the mean streets of the city, but this is the kind of thing that makes the fabric of the community all that much more enjoyable for the people who live here, and it certainly does contribute to the community spirit, and I'm just very happy to see this on our agenda tonight.
Very well put. Thank you. Any further? Thank you, Councillor Brown. Go ahead.
I'm still confused. Jumping up and down. Thank you. I'm really pleased to see that the Discover Belleville is taking on these two additional initiatives. I know that you worked with the pop-ups last year, and it's proving very well. I do, however, have a question that may be better posed to the Chamber CEO, Joe Raycroft. We have been sending a lot of work into Discover Belleville's Way, and I'm just curious as to when we will reach the limits on the capacity of what Discover Belleville can do.
I'm thankful we have this year. So right now, our contracts with the city terminate again at the end of 2023, and that's a great opportunity for us to kind of reconvene and look back to see what our capacity has provided us. With the contract with the pop-ups, there is another person, so we will be hiring on behalf of that particular role. But you're not wrong. I am curious to see how we're going to be able to manage, not even so much with people-wise. I mean, I think Tiffany is prepared, and you know, using the conveniences of modern technology has sped up some of the process-oriented tasks. But we are curious about how we can do this even financially. So it will be a great way for us to really watch carefully this year to see what we feel we can do, and in the negotiations for the contract, should you decide that you want to continue. Typically it's a 4-year contract. So if this council should decide to take that conversation for another 4-year contract renewal, we'll have this year to use as a great experience for kind of deciding what we need to do.
Thank you. And the reason for my question is an observation is, of course, through the Equity, Diversity and Inclusion Committee, where both of these initial ideas, Diwali and the Caribbean Festival, emerged. I just want us to be, as a member of that committee and with my colleague, I want to make sure that we're cautious in terms of if we want to introduce new events, that we do so in consultation with the Chamber and Discover Belleville. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Anything further? All in favor? That's carried. Thank you. Moving on to 8A4, purchase of 2 new Rammer 777E hammer units and 1 new HOPAC 1000C compactor. The resolution reads that in accordance with Section 30.3, sole and single sourcing approval and reporting of the city's purchasing bylaw number 2021-99, the quotation from Strong Co. be accepted for the supply of 2 new Rammer 777E hammer units and 1 new HOPAC 1000C compactor attachments in the amount of $80,800 plus $10,504 HST, for a total of $91,304, and that the mayor and city clerk be authorized to sign the acceptance agreement on behalf of the corporation of the city of Belleville, and that the city clerk be authorized to fix the corporate seal. Can I have a mover and a seconder for that? Thank you, Councillor Alsop and Councillor Enright Miller. Any discussion? All in favor? Yep, that is carried. Thank you. Moving into 8B, consent items. Council may adopt consent items by one motion, but prior to consideration of such motion, members may request that certain items be removed from consideration under such motion, and council shall consider such items individually. So I guess I will go around the table and ask if anyone would like to pull any items. Councillor Thompson?
No, thank you.
Councillor Enright Miller?
No, thank you.
Councillor Alsop?
No, thank you.
Councillor Brown?
No, thank you.
Mayor Ellis?
No, thank you.
Councillor Millet?
No, thank you.
Councillor Kelly?
I did want to pull one, it's 8CB, but we're not there yet, right? So no,
No.
no, thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. So I will need a motion to approve that all items, sorry, where is it? That the consent items be approved. Motion, thank you, Councillor Alsop, and Mayor Ellis as second. Any discussion? All in favor? That is carried. Thank you. So that's taking us down to 8C. Council information matters. Council may adopt consent items by one motion, but prior to consideration of such motion, members may request that specific items be removed from consideration under such motion, and council shall consider such items individually. I will go around the table, starting with Councillor Kelly.
I'd like to pull Councillor Chatton, 8CB.
8C2B?
C to B.
Okay, got it. 8C2B, is that correct? Yes. Okay, thank you. And Councillor Millet? Anything to pull for?
No, thank you.
Thank you. And Mayor Ellis?
No, thank you.
Councillor Brown?
No, I was going to pull the same one as Councillor Kelly. Thank you.
Okay, Councillor Alsop?
No, thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Enright Miller?
No, thank you.
And Councillor Thompson? Okay, thank you. So with the exception of 8C2B, could I have a motion that the agenda items be received with the exception of 8C2B? Thank you, Councillor Enright Miller and Councillor Brown. Second, all in favor? That was not a carry. Sorry, thank you, that's carried. So 8C2, request support of the following letters/resolutions. B, urge the provincial government to require all school buses have stop arm cameras installed and paid for by the province for the start of the 2023-2024 school year, and underwrite the costs for the implementation and ongoing annual costs for administrative monetary penalties in small and rural municipalities. March 6, 2023 resolution from the municipality of North Perth. Resolution from North Perth, March 6, 2023, school bus stop arm cameras. And go ahead, Councillor Kelly.
Thank you, through you, Chair. I just wanted to get support from the City of Belleville on this initiative by North Perth, which is a community in southwestern Ontario. The mayor there is Todd Kassenberg, and it's a community of about 13,000. Before the pandemic hit, I raised the stop arm safety concerns with area buses. We had numerous meetings with the city, Belleville Police Service, Tri-Board busing, and then we got hit with the pandemic, and then that ask or hopeful thing for the city went into the hands, I believe, of transit or transportation. And what North Perth is asking for is that the province start to pay and underwrite the cost for the implementation and ongoing annual costs for getting the stop arms on city buses. Not city buses, but school buses. And we know here in Belleville, it covers many districts, but Algonquin Lakeshore Catholic School Board, Hastings Prince Edward School Board, have over 30,000 students going to school in our area. And I spoke to Joe Reed from the city, and this bill for stop arm would come into over $1 million for the city of Belleville. And there was challenges with how the tickets were going to be paid and whatnot, but at the end of the day, it's a safety device for families and for children, and it's high time that the province start to pay and make the streets safer for our children going to school. So I'll leave it at that.
Thank you. And Councillor Brown, then Councillor Millet.
So I too am very supportive of the stop arm cameras. I do want to just express some concern in terms of two things. One, the timeline. We are only 5 months out from the start of the next school year. I know we feel like we've just barely gotten into it, and we're almost out. So I don't believe it's realistic to expect that the province is going to move that quickly on this. We know that it takes a great deal of time. And Minister Lecce is going to have to make big consideration on this, and we know he's been very occupied with other things. So that piece. I'd also express some concern about why they are only asking for small and rural municipalities to be funded in this particular initiative. I appreciate that North Perth is not a horribly big city, but neither is Belleville when it comes down to it. And so I have some difficulty supporting something that says, and support implementation only in small and rural communities. I would, if I was going to support this, I would like to see it all municipalities. Thank you.
Thank you. Did you want to answer something? Okay, Councillor, is it okay, Councillor Millette, if Councillor Kelly goes ahead of you?
Councillor Kelly is likely going to answer
okay.
this question, so.
Thanks.
Sure, go ahead.
Thank you. Through you, Chair, just to follow up on Councillor Brown, being a former trustee, most of our schools in Belleville that the buses go through would be considered rural. So the definition where they have small and rural schools, kids that are bused to our schools are coming from rural districts. So I think it would cover under this, and I think it's a start. And I know you referred to September 2023. Well, that gives them 5 months, and there's so many municipalities have already had these conversations. I think if they work quickly, and at the end of the day, it's safety for our children. So the government can get it done, and they got the buck of beer rolling in months. Surely they can get this done. Thank you.
And Councillor Millette, go ahead.
Thank you, and I'm well familiar with this program because I was seated at the right hand of Councillor Kelly at the rubber chicken lunch where we both learned of this at AMO when the organization that markets these stop arm cameras, and you know, it seemed like a great idea at the time. Through the ensuing months, and now it's been, I think, a couple of years at least since we first learned of it, and Councillor Kelly took the bit in his teeth and led the initiative, and good on him. We've come to find that indeed there is financial implications on a large scale. We heard from police. Administratively, it would involve officers having to not only monitor the, administer the, the parking tickets and that sort of thing. We heard later that the organization that markets these would do the monitoring for fee for service. It all comes back to Councillor Brown's concern, and I share that. I wholeheartedly endorse the notion of it. Great idea. I saw how it works in the presentation that was given at the AMO Learning Lunch that we were at that day. And I mean, hey, great idea. The costs are significant. It is much more complicated than it seems on paper. Is it a valuable resource to help protect children? Absolutely. But I'm a little bit concerned where it says the municipality of North Perth urges the provincial government to underwrite the costs for the implementation and ongoing costs for administrative monetary penalties in small and rural municipalities. We're a mid-size urban municipality. I don't know if we would qualify, and I don't know why they would limit it to that. I'm with Councillor Kelly that it should be for all, but you know, it's a little nebulous in that regard. So I'll support it, but I just have concerns that it's a somewhat poorly worded motion that excludes a good number of us in the province that could get behind it, but they're only looking for the province to pay small and rural municipalities.
Thank you. Councillor Thompson?
Yeah, as chair of the Transportation Committee, We started to take this into, after Councillor Kelly got it started in Transportation Committee, along with Mr. Reed, our staff person, looked into the pros and cons, and the implementation of this was really beyond just Belleville. You know, it's a program that really needs to be province-wide or Canada-wide, and it, you know, the importance of that is, you know, and we tried to do it together, and we're still in the process of the red lights and the speed zones, but this was going to be one part of it, and we realize now that it's bigger than we can do for the city of Belleville. It incorporates too many school boards for just the city to get involved, and I'm quite pleased that this municipality has taken on to get it out to the municipality, because it is important, because I'm sure every day somebody goes by a school bus and gets away with it, and all it takes is one close call or one accident, and these arms, no matter what the cost, is going to save one life. So if we can save one life by this, then and because Belleville wasn't able to fully implement, this is great. So I'm going to support it and hope that we do it sooner than later. And I appreciate Councillor Kelly taking it on in the first place, and then realizing we had to move it to another district. So thank you.
Thank you. And Councillor Enright Miller?
Thank you, through you, Chair. I too agree that we should 100% be behind this initiative, because one life saved is one life saved. I mean, it's invaluable. I think we should get behind it and possibly alter the letter somewhat to kind of tailor to what the City of Belleville requires, but jump onto this and see where we can go. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Can I just ask, who was it that seconded that motion? It was Chris Millett. Okay, thank you. And any other further discussion? All in favor? That is carried. Thank you. So I just need a motion to receive, nope, rise and report. I just need a motion to rise and report. May I have a motion? Thank you, Councillor Alsop, and seconded by Councillor Enright Miller. And all in favor? That is carried. Thank you.
Okay, I need a motion for first reading of bylaws 2023 49, 50, 51, 52, 53, 54, 55, and 56. Moved by Councillor Chatton, seconded by Councillor Kelly. All in favor? Carried. I need a second reading and discussion of bylaw 2023 49, 50, 51, 52, 53, 54, 55, and 56. Moved by Councillor Enright Miller, Councillor Thompson. Discussion. All in favor? Carried. Third and final reading of bylaws 2023 49, 50, 51, 52, 53, 54, 55, and 56. Moved by Councillor Chatton, Councillor Alsop. Discussion or no discussion? All in favor? Carried. Now to move on, new business. Any new business? Seeing none. Motions. I do have a motion, if you'll bear with me here. I would like to move that council approve a waiver of section 8485 of the attendance by members of council at conferences, conventions, seminars, workshops, and training courses in other events policy for 2023, so that any members are able to attend the Federation of Canadian Municipalities FCM annual conference, which is being held in Toronto in 2023. So if I had a second for that, Councillor Chatton. My discussion on this is in the council bylaw, we are able to attend 2 conferences plus AMO. Myself, I added an extra one. This year we have an opportunity. We are a member of Federation of Canadian Municipalities. We're probably the only municipality in this area that are members. The conference is held usually every year out of province. This year it is being held in Toronto, and I think it would be a good opportunity, not only for all council, but some of us that are new, including me, to be able to attend an extra conference this year. So I don't know if anybody else would like to speak on this. Councillor Millett?
Yes, thank you, Your Worship, and thanks for bringing this forward. Yeah, the FCM, the Federation of Canadian Municipalities, has a number of initiatives that are beneficial to the City of Belleville, including for the after our declaration of a climate emergency, we've now joined the Federation of Canadian Municipalities greenhouse gas inventory initiatives and others, and we're benefiting from the experience of the member municipalities of the Federation of Canadian Municipalities. So we're benefiting from information gleaned from all across Canada. There will be, on the environmental front, there will be an awful lot of information shared at this meeting. I'm already seeing some of the agenda items coming forward on that front, and I'm looking forward to attending, as well as touring some Toronto infrastructure on greenhouse gas reduction and environmental initiatives in the city of Toronto. So, thank you.
Okay. Any other discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? Motion carried. Thank you, Council. Notice of motions. Announcements. Councillor Enright Miller.
Thank you, Chair. I have a proclamation. As part of Canadian Dental Hygienists Association Put Your Purple On campaign, we are celebrating National Dental Hygienist Week. Their theme, Oral Health for Total Health, is to remind everyone that taking care of your mouth, teeth, and gums positively impacts other aspects of our lives. The Belleville sign, Bridge Street Bridge, and Fire Station Number 1 Memorial Garden will be lit up purple from April 1st until April 6th to highlight the importance of good oral health practices and the vital role dental hygienists play in the healthcare system. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Enright Miller. Councillor Alsop.
Yes, thank you, Chair. I'd like to proclaim that April is Be a Donor Month, with Green Shirt Day taking place on April 7th. This came to be due to the Humboldt Broncos hockey team being in a terrible bus crash on April 6, 2018, and 16 young victims losing their lives. The day after the crash, 21-year-old Logan Boulay succumbed to his injuries, but having registered as an organ donor, he gave 6 people the gift of life. This inspired thousands of people around the world to also register as donors, including 100,000 Canadians. Logan's parents created Green Shirt Day the following year to ensure that their son's legacy lived on. The Transplant Advocate Association have asked the Belleville community to not only wear green on April 7th, but also to light the city green to help inform the public of the need for organ and tissue donation. The Quinte Sports and Wellness Center will be having a flag-raising ceremony at 11 a.m. on Tuesday, April 4th, plus the Belleville sign, Bridge Street Bridge, and Fire Station Number 1 Memorial Garden will also be lit green April 7th through 10th to encourage all who are interested to become donors.
Thank you, Councillor. Any other announcements? Seeing none, I need a motion to, for the confirmatory bylaw, a resolution that bylaw number 2023-57, a bylaw to confirm the proceedings of council and at its meeting held on March 27th, 23, be read a first, second, and third time and finally passed this 27th day of March 2023. Councillor Brown, Councillor Chatton, all in favor? Carried. Motion to adjourn. No hands? Councillor Millette, Councillor Enright Miller, all in favor? Carried. Thank you, everybody.